You're listening to MinerTalk on demand exclusively on 600 ESPN El Paso. Stay up to date with MinerTalk by downloading the free 600 ESPN El Paso mobile app.
All I ever wanted was a black Grand National. Being rational, give them what they asked for. It's not enough. Few solid left, but it's not enough. Few that'll really step, but it's not enough.
All right, we are live. It is MinerTalk, presented by Jack in the Box. I'm Adrian Broadus. Sal Montes, behind the beats, behind the glass, behind all the calls, behind every show here for MinerTalk. We appreciate Sal Montes here on the program to start things off, celebrating 10 years here at 600 ESPN El Paso. I feel like that's only fitting we start the show that way, Sal.
Oh my goodness, I cannot believe it's been that long, man. It's gone by so fast. But in all seriousness, thank you so much, man. And shout out to everybody for all the love and the all the affection, so to speak, that they've been showing me in the emails. So thank you guys. It's an honor and it's a blessing to be able to do it this long. But it's not possible without having amazing people that you run into along the journey. So shout out to you guys, man.
Yeah, thank you, Sal. No, it's all you. It's all you. With all of this, it's all you, and we appreciate you, Sal. We're going to talk more about Sal's 10-year anniversary here with 600 ESPN El Paso later on, but this is MinerTalk. UTEP defeated UNC Greensboro 64-58. Let's talk about it. We're going to be on now, and it's a pre-Thanksgiving MinerTalk. Right after this, the next time you'll hear from us, you're either going to hear very happy MinerTalk after a UTEP win in the Battle of I-10, or you're going to hear a horrible UTEP MinerTalk after a Battle of I-10 loss. There's no in between there. There's no, hey, moral victories, none of that. You only win or lose in the Battle of I-10. And Sal, tonight we can be joyous. We can get excited. 2 out of 3 out in Vegas for the Ball Dogs Classic. You thought 1 of 3.
Yeah,
I thought 3 of 3. And so they landed somewhere in between, and it is 2 of 3.
Yeah, and they end the tournament, or the Classic, I should say, better than when they entered, obviously. And that's promising for them. Just in terms of momentum, it's going to be a good test against Seattle. And Golden was talking about it, how his wife was torturing him because when he got home, I guess the game was on between them and Furman. And he's like, dang it, they're even better than when UTEP lost to them not too long ago. So, it'll be great. Coming up, that part of that CUSA WAC challenge, which I know if there's an equivalent of sickles for college basketball, but for like respectful stuff, CUSA WAC challenge is up there.
I agree, man. I agree. CUSA WAC Challenge, by the way, UTEP has yet to win a game in the WAC Challenge. So trying to get their first win in that. That's next week, Saturday against Seattle. Let's jump into this one as we welcome into the program George Guajardo, Alberto Reta onto the show for the first time. We are also live on Inspo Lens, thanks to Chris Collins. There we go. Shout out to you, Chris. Appreciate you, man. And we are here and we are live. This is 3 straight days in a row that we've been live on Inspo Lens. So really appreciate Chris and the great team at Inspo Lens. Check them out online, inspolens.com. Our telephone number to get things started on the show, 915-505-6009. Alberto, what a game it was here tonight for the Miners, and in particular, Corey Camper Jr. I know I should dish it over to Sal Montes. He picked Corey Camper Jr. in our fantasy draft, but nonetheless, 19.7 of 15 for the all-around standout for UTEP.
Yeah, great performance. Puts up 15 shots, hits 7 of those, but also has 4 rebounds and 3 assists to go with that, and 2 steals and a block. So, yeah, he did a little bit of everything. Corey Camper Jr., I know Sal's feeling great back there, not only because of his 10 years. Congratulations, Sal. My hat's off to you. But, yeah, I mean, you got to love how the Miners played. I believe I did pick them to go 2 of 3, so I feel very good about that. And you got to feel great about how this team started the tournament and how they ended in just a 3-day span, and how they continue to fight throughout those 3 days. If tournament basketball does come, that's kind of very similar. A lot of basketball in short spans.
George, 2 other heroes to talk about, David Terrell Jr. and Devin Barnes. For Barnes, he started off the game 3 for 3 scoring, which is impressive on his side. He finished the game 3 of 5, 10 points. He got 2 from a pair from the free throw line. He also contributed with 3 total rebounds and 1 block in 26 minutes of action. So they got it from Devin Barnes. I just thought these past 2 days from David Terrell Jr. Wow. 7 points in this matchup right here, which isn't a real indication of how well he played. 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal in this game as well. Played in total control. No turnovers for David Terrell Jr. He had a trio of fouls, which again is an improvement for him. Just impressive all around from our pal David Terrell Jr.
Yeah, he had a great game. I mean, yeah, he didn't stuff the stat sheet, as you would say, but if you watch the game, I mean, the energy, the command he had on the floor, just like you said, totally in control of his own game and running the show, right? He really is the heartbeat of this team. And I'll note on the guards, between Devin Barnes, David Terrell Jr., and Corey Camper Jr., they had 9 assists altogether and 1 turnover.
Nice. It's good numbers.
Running the offense. I mean, that is what you want to see from your guards.
Yeah, I'm with you completely. I've got 5 burning questions. We got phone calls to get to, and then we're going to wrap it up on MinerTalk edition after UTEP gets a big win. 64-58 against UNC Greensboro. Let's get the phone line started. We're on here 3 days in a row for MinerTalk. This man has not missed 3 days in a row. He is Brian, who's joining us first on the phone lines now on 550-5609. Brian, good evening, man. What'd you see from this one?
I'm seeing a lot of good stuff. I want to take a different direction than I had from yesterday's call and give this team its praise. They put up a really good fight against UNC Greensboro, and they got the win. I'm really looking forward to how Corey Camper is going to look for the rest of the season. And, yeah, I made out all 3 days. And this time I didn't turn off the game, and I watched it through the end. But, yeah, good stuff from the Miners. Thanks for having me.
Good stuff, Brian. Appreciate you on a quick call. Good stuff, man, because, yeah, you got to give them the credit. You could think that UTEP had, a real disappointing effort against San Jose State, and the same with Utah Valley. No doubt about it. But beating UNC Greensboro tonight, beating UC Santa Barbara, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, those are impressive wins in my eyes when you talk about UTEP basketball. So that was actually a week ago against UC Santa Barbara. Feels like 3 weeks ago.
Feels like forever ago, yeah.
That's how fast things are moving. It feels that way because we were talking 3 nights of hoops over the course of 3 straight days. So
And don't forget, there was some football sandwiched in between that too. So up and down, up and down.
Exactly. Now I'm at 550-5609. All right, let's jump into it. 5 burning questions. We'll get your guys' thoughts and reactions to it. Feel free to jump in. I'm going to keep everybody's mics hot, so feel free to just jump in wherever, okay? First burning question that I've got for this UTEP basketball squad, okay? Are you concerned with Otis Frazier's injury? And I think the answer ultimately on this one is no, but 4 points tonight, 1 of 9 from the floor, 0 for 3. There's obviously something more to this. 4 fouls in this matchup, 2 turnovers, and he plays 26 minutes of action. Just, inefficient game for Otis. I think that's injury based. It's something that you heard from Golding talk about yesterday, that he may have dinged something up early, and then Sal, it's just 3 games, 3 days.
And he wasn't even part of the shoot around yesterday. I don't know if that was the case today or not. I didn't pay attention to that part, but I'd imagine if he was, it wasn't too intense. But I agree, though. I think the play definitely is affected by the injury. The only way I would be concerned is if play like this continues. But this is the 3rd game in 3 days for these guys as well. There's going to be a lot of rest, basically from now, or a decent amount of rest from now up until the next one. So we'll see what they get to do. But good thing is, Adrian, believe it or not, no practice after a game. and I don't know the schedule for UTEP, but I'm pretty sure the guys are going to soak that in and get that rest. But with that being said, right, kind of relating it back to Frazier, good to not have anything basketball related, as part of the day.
Yeah, I agree completely on that one, Sal. Hey, either of you guys with any thoughts? Otis Frazier III, any concerns?
No. For me, it's also a no. He still played 26 minutes. Obviously, most of the energy he spent today is on the defensive end, and he had an impact there. I mean, really. Crashing the boards hard, playing great defense. He himself had a block himself. The ±2, it's -2 today for Otis Frazier. That's not terrible, right? You'll take that. He's got 10 days off.
Yeah.
So ice whatever it is bothering him. What was it, the ankle? I don't want to speculate. Whatever it is, ice it, get some rest the next 3 or 4 days, right? Enjoy Thanksgiving and get back at it. I think he'll be fine.
Speaking of Thanksgiving, can Elijah Jones, in number 2, overtake Derek Hamilton in minutes down low. I really liked Elijah Jones the past 2 days. That's where this is stemming from. I thought he played some pretty good basketball. He plays 8 minutes tonight, has a block. He's better defensively than he was before. I know it gets kind of all over the place at times with Elijah, but I feel like if he's able to hit threes in games for you down the stretch, that's kind of what you want from Elijah Jones, to be a stretch four, to truly help space the floor for this squad. And maybe on nights like tonight where you're not getting much from the likes of, maybe Derek Hamilton, Kevin Kalu, forget that. No, if you're not getting a good game from Otis Frazier III, maybe sub in Elijah Jones, play him alongside Kalu or Hamilton, and see what you got with two bigs. Rock with two guys like that versus just rocking with one. So, Sal, you have Elijah Jones on your team, and you have Kalu. Do you think this is possible here moving forward? Could we see Elijah Jones steal some minutes?
I wouldn't say steal per se. I think he'll get minutes. It just depends on our guys in foul trouble or not. And we've seen that sometimes where UTEP doesn't get to play the cards that they want to put in at a certain point because the card that's being dealt in front of them, they got to adjust, and you got to fly with the game plan. So if it all works out, and guys are able to not be in foul trouble or whatever the case is, have to leave the floor for whatever reason, that would be nice to see. But at this point, Adrian, it might be a possibility too. It all just depends on the flow of the game. So I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I can't say yes or I can't say no.
Yeah, I'm okay. I see where you're at. Alberto, can you help out a little bit on that one, maybe?
Well, yeah, just going to kind of build off of that. And, yeah, I think that you do want to have the ability to play two bigs in tandem at different times, right? It doesn't just have to be either Elijah, Derek, or Otis. It can just be any of those two guys. You want to be able to play them both and have your both of your sides, your offense and defense, work cohesively so that you can have a well-oiled team as those guys are getting minutes together. So I think that if the Miners can figure that out, that would make them extremely, extremely difficult. Extremely, extremely dangerous. So I hope they figure that out.
Well, the more depth, the better, I think, in my opinion. Just the more depth that you're able to add out there, the more that you're going to improve this squad. So, okay, we got 2 questions down, 3 to go. Next one. At his peak, what can David Terrell Jr. be? I've asked this to head coach Joe Golding. He had a pretty good answer about, what he could be, in the future. We talked about this in our preseason podcast that was, videotaped by Inspo Lens, and it was aired on Sports Talk, the Sports Talk MinerTalk preseason preview with head coach Joe Golding. And, I liked his answer to that, but I don't know, man. Every time he goes out there, especially like tonight, he only scores 7 points. You don't really see the kind of impact he makes unless you're really watching. But in stretches, I was keying on Terrell, and he was the best player on the floor. I really, truly believe that. He was at points in this game, the best player on the floor. Maybe it's a hybrid, Sal, of like a Jamal Bieniemy and a Tristan Newton. I still side with like a Tristan Newton type of player. Sizable guard who could be the best perimeter defender on the floor, who could be a floor general on the opposite side, score when needed, score in bunches as well, but doesn't need to take over the game in order for his impact to be felt.
I got one for you. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Julian Stone with the jump shot.
Ooh, I like the name. Yes, that's a great one. And Julian Stone comparisons have been thrown out there to me before for him.
It's nice. You see the way that he commands, the respect out there on the floor, obviously by his teammates, but with the opponents, they key in on him, and tonight, only 3 of 8, 7 points, and they looked fluid when they were out there on offense. We kind of been asking that. I know there were some stretches tonight that kind of made you question it, but they got a lot more motion, a lot more productivity from guys, and respectful motion, I should say, out there. They were effective without the ball, and that's what you want to see. And he only went 3 for 8, but you're telling me that it was one of the more fluid offensive games they've had all year. That's definitely what you want. So in the future, let's say he has a game where he's shooting over 500 and it's more than 10 shots out there, and they're still playing good defense. You're picking up that offensive front. So, no, this is what you want, man. I think he's the leader out there on the floor for sure.
I'm with you there completely. Now
of the guards, let me say that.
As the guards, yes. 915-505-6009. I would argue he's even one of the alphas on the entire team. But either you guys want to chime in here. What could Terrell Jr. bring at his peak?
Yeah, no. I'm with you, Adrian. I think Tristan Newton is the perfect example. A fundamentally sound player that can attack from all over the floor. But I mean, it's the presence. I mean, his presence is heavy. It's like a black hole. The gravity just surrounds him. I think there was a couple of times he was just punking players from UNC Greensboro. I mean, taking the ball from them, crashing the boards. I mean, just a complete and just a very scary presence on the floor for him.
I agree completely. Sal, how about this one? I got to bring back a good memory for you.
Let's do it.
2 years ago, UTEP defeated Texas A&M Corpus Christi on this very day, right? 2 years ago, they beat Texas A&M Corpus Christi 72-67. In that game right there, they relied on guys like Tay Hardy, Shamar Givens, Jamari Sibley, Calvin Solomon, and Zarek Onyema. That was their group. That was their core right there. Comparing this team to that team 2 years, it's night and day in terms of talent. Like, I reeled off couple pretty solid players, like wondering if Elijah Jones could play. I think Elijah Jones could be better served for this basketball team now off the bench than Sibley was in a starting role for the Miners that season. Just to do some comparisons on the level of talent jump that we're seeing just 2 years ago.
Not only that, but I'm glad you brought up that comparison because Sibley came out the gates on fire with the Miners, and we saw that with Elijah Jones last year. But after that, you haven't really seen much consistency or of performance. I don't want to say replicated, but kind of in that area. But there's still hope and there's still upside for Elijah Jones. And if that were the case where they're just out on him, who knows how many minutes he gets tonight. But with Hamilton not performing as well as you'd like, you said it best earlier, maybe he could steal those minutes. But I mean, today he was just active, and that's what you want to see. Coach is always going to praise and reward that type of effort and tenacity, especially when it's used in a good way.
More questions in the 5 burning questions here on the show. Does UTEP have the right starting 5, and does it matter? Okay, point guards tonight were David Terrell Jr. and Devin Barnes. They have Corey Camper also in the backcourt as well, Otis Frazier III and Kevin Kalu. Yesterday, it wasn't Frazier in the starting lineup. Instead, they rolled with Trey Horton III, and then they didn't roll with Barnes. They instead rolled with Bynum. So they've mixed up the starting lineup only twice. And maybe this doesn't even matter. Maybe you guys make the argument that this rotation is more of what you focus on instead of who's starting off the game or who's closing out the game for UTEP. We haven't really seen a tight game down the stretch, like late in a game for the Miners, with the exception of UC Santa Barbara. So that's the only sample size we really have of UTEP playing a team really close down the wire. I just wonder, does this matter to you, Sal, as far as the starting lineup, and is it the right group?
I think it all depends on who they're going up against and what is the personnel that the other team has. If it's a guard-heavy team, obviously you're going to want to counter it with your guards. If there's size, maybe there's 2 forwards or 2, I guess, bigs, if you want to put it that way. But if I had to pick a lineup, and I don't have the names in front of me right now, but the lineup that was in the game at the end of San Jose State when they were running up and down, that lineup right there, in my opinion, is when they were the best they've been all season. And if you just clip maybe, 7 minutes, like their best 7-minute stretch or one of them, that lineup right there has got to be up there for me. Unfortunately, just kind of a little bit too late in that game when it came to the production, but that's when I think they're at their best, when they use that athleticism.
Well, that lineup right there was that same group I talked to you about. Barnes, Corey Camper Jr., Otis Frazier III, Kalu, but they put Bynum in instead of Terrell. So that was the difference that we saw. So that's your favorite lineup of the year so far. I think that line is pretty good.
It is, but you know what, though? I still think Terrell needs to be out there. So I think that's their second best lineup. How about that? Maybe swap out Kalu for Terrell there.
There you go. Yeah. Go small and run with something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like it. 915-505-6009. A couple other questions to get to. Actually, 2 more to get to. Is Corey Camper Jr. the best player on this team? I'm just going out there and saying it. he might be the best offensive. He might be the best two-way player and offensive player. At least during this stretch, he's proving that there are games where it's just going to be his game. But you heard how Golding was talking about him at the end. What if he's the focal point offensively? What if he's like the Tay Hardy of this team? What if he is the go-to scorer for this group and everybody else just fills in the gaps? Now, that means in conference play, other teams will adjust. So then that means that you're going to have Devin Barnes, Ahmad Bynum, David Terrell Jr., those guys. And, of course, Otis Frazier III. Those guys are all going to need to score. But is Corey Camper the mainstay scorer? Like, every night you can count him in for 11 to 20 points, and he's going to get his shots no matter what. He shoots 7 of 15 tonight from the field. He's 1 of 4 from three-point range, 4 of 5 from the free throw line, which I want him to go to the free throw line more. I think he could be extra aggressive and really get some of those fouls drawn. 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, a block in 36 minutes of action. Just filled the stat sheet, was ultra aggressive, ultra active. I don't know, man. Through November, as we close the month in November, if I had to pick a player of the month, so to speak, Corey Camper Jr. might be that for me for UTEP basketball.
Oh, man, I got a name for you, and it's not too far removed from UTEP basketball, but I remember saying this specifically. In terms of all-around player, I'm going to pair it with somebody. Are you ready?
No.
Keontae Kennedy.
Interesting, because Kennedy could hit he could score from all
do
three
it
levels.
All. Yeah.
Kennedy had more athleticism, but Camper, I'll say this. The jump that Camper made last year from JUCO to D1 was obvious. It took him some time to really adjust. Second part of that season last year in CUSA, he got comfortable. He averaged close to 10 points a game. He was like right around 9. If Camper can continue and get better, he's going to be a better player than Kennedy, which is impressive. That's a testament to Camper Jr. and what he's been able to do. Kennedy was never this good defensively, I'll tell you that. But as far as offensive goes and the fearlessness and the dunks remind me a little Kennedy.
Yeah, it's a more gritty type of Kennedy, and with all due respect, the more durable. At that point, he's out there and he's being effective, but you see the progression, right? Slowly becoming more comfortable with not only his style of play, but who else is out there on the floor and developing his own type of scouting report and playing on the fly, thinking of things quicker than he has before. So I really like the progression that's been made.
Okay, I do too. Corey Camper Jr., what a player. Anybody else with some thoughts on Corey? You guys, any thoughts?
I mean, look, he's definitely right now the best player. He's playing the best, hands down. I really like what he's done in these first few weeks for the Miners, but I think that it's difficult to say he's going to be the best hands down the entire season. So I think a long season. Yeah. I think that this Miner team has a couple guys who at times to time or different game to game can give you a great game and you could be like, oh, this guy's the best one. It could be Otis, it could be David Terrell, and heck, it could maybe even be another guy.
It could be Bynum.
Yeah, exactly. They get hot from the 3. They sink 7 in your face out of 10. It's not that it's impossible. Well, then we'd be saying some different things. So I think that's what I really like about this Miner team is it's got that fluidity in these guys that on any given night, I think any one of these guys can really hurt you.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that completely. A couple my final one here. This is a good one. I think this would be a perfect segue into closing out the show and previewing next week, which, by the way, Golding's already asking for a big crowd against Seattle. They deserve it. They deserve people to just show up. I consider that the first home game, right? Because first 2 games weren't really, either playing against D2, D3 squads. Those don't really count in the grand scheme of things. This is the first D1 opponent coming to the Don Haskins Center all season. Next Saturday, it's an afternoon game against Seattle. My final question to you all. This is I'll need an answer from everybody. Can UTEP go 4-2 in December? Okay, let's reel off the list. Seattle at home. Then they go on the road against Louisville. Louisville, by the way, a good team right now. 4-1. They destroyed Indiana yesterday. Destroyed. They play West Virginia, I think, tonight. Or tomorrow.
That was
today,
tomorrow, the West Virginia game.
Right. Louisville won tonight. against Indiana, 89-61, and then West Virginia tomorrow. So nonetheless, Louisville looks really good. Tarleton State then comes to town. Tarleton State, Billy Gillespie's squad, they're 1-5, although they played some really tough teams. SMU, Florida State, Baylor, Michigan. Really tough schedule so far. They play Iona this week, Hofstra this week, and then Indiana State this week, a neutral site series for Tarleton State coming up here. So we'll learn a little bit more about them as their schedule softens up a bit. Then it's the Westar Don Haskins Sun Bowl Invitational. Jackson State is the first game. That is a guaranteed game for UTEP in the first game. And that team, coached by Mo Williams, yes, you heard me, Mo Williams, 0-7 on the season so far. If UTEP wins that game, which I expect them to win it, they'll play the winner of Yale and Akron. Yale on the season, they're 4-4. They're coached by James Jones. They're considered a good team, actually, out of the Ivy Leagues. And Akron is considered a really good team, too. 4-2, the Zips are. 130 in the country. They have wins against Lamar, Nebraska, Omaha, Alabama State, and then they've got Northern Kentucky next week. So that's your month of December, and then we're going to call one of these games a guaranteed win, and that's Northern New Mexico, Saturday, December 28th for UTEP. But let's work our way backwards, okay? Sun Bowl Invitational, Miners won that last year, so that could be 2. They're right there. Tarleton State, which is a home game as well. Seattle, which is next week, and then Louisville on the road. Where are you at, Sal? Can UTEP go 4-2 or maybe even better in the month of December? Where are you at?
4-2 is a possibility. I'm going to pull this back up on my end. I have like 30 tabs open. I'm going to reel off the automatic losses. I'll throw Louisville out there, and I think it's going to be some toss-ups. So I think between Tarleton and Seattle, I can't call which ones, but I think it's a split. So right now, let's say 1-2 through those 3. I think they're able to get past Akron, Yale, and Jackson State. So yeah, give me that 4-2. Okay,
Sal's got him exactly at 4-2. George, where are you at with this one?
Yeah, no, I'm at 5-1. I think Seattle. So I was at that Seattle game last year. It was not pleasant. It was a terrible shooting night. I think that this Miners team is a lot deeper and has much more firepower offensively. That kind of won't happen again. Seattle's tough. All of these teams are tough. Obviously, the Louisville game, that's an L. Tarleton State, I think we win that. Jacksonville State, I think we win. I'm sorry, Jackson State, right?
Yes.
We win that. Northern New Mexico, as you said, guaranteed. Yale Akron, I think, is the only other one that I think is tougher. Yale, a great Ivy League school right there as far as basketball goes. Akron, always pretty competitive. The Zips. But I got UTEP going 5-1 in this stretch and really making a statement. I think San Jose State should be the last bad loss of the season.
That's a good take there. Or that's a hot take even. But it's a good take. Alberto, where are you at?
I like that take. Look, to me, it just really boils down between those first 2 games. I'm not going to sit here and discuss the Westar Don Haskins Invitational because the Miners I hate to say this, are really expected to win that game. That's your tournament at home. You're expected to go out there and sweep whoever it is. Your opponents for that tournament haven't been what they once were, so you can't make you can't cut them any slack. So Seattle U and Louisville. Seattle played a great game against Liberty early in the season. They lost 66-64, so that kind of gives you an idea of where they're at. Although it's one of those teams where maybe their record doesn't indicate how good they are. So it's going to be difficult to me to pick against them against Seattle. So if they can go out there and beat Seattle, they should be able to beat Tarleton State. So it's just about not going out there to choke. So I definitely have them going 5-1 on best case scenario. But if you go 4-2, that's really worst case scenario because you're dropping a game against at home, right? You don't want to be dropping these home games. We already talked about you want to be good at home, especially hit conference play.
George, you want to comment on that? Any follow up?
No, I totally agree. You can't be dropping these home games, but I do think. Look, I think that this team can beat Seattle. I know Seattle's a lot better than their record says, and Tarleton State, yeah, they've had some tough games, but this UTEP might be the toughest of their games yet, maybe.
Yeah,
right?
Fair.
Yeah, Louisville, you're going to drop it. But I think 5-1's really realistic here.
Yeah, it could be. It could be when it's all said and done. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see what ends up happening in December. I've got them 4-2. I'm like Sal. I feel like they're going to lose one of those games, but I'm going to say between Seattle and the final game of the West Star Don Haskins Sun Bowl Invitational. Those are going to be tough ones for the Miners right there. When you look at KenPom, by the way, KenPom has them going 5-1 going into the new year. So there's definitely hope. There's definitely optimism. I should say that as well. So UTEP definitely has a chance. Let's see what happens when it's all said and done, and if they can live up to those standards, for this squad moving forward. 5-2 is where UTEP stands to turn the month on November. Guys, I think we've done a really good job of hammering this one home as far as the Ball Dogs Classic. So what we're going to do right here is we're going to turn the page and start giving our superlatives, and then we're going to wrap it up with some final thoughts and some tweets that came in on the program.
Real quick, before we get completely off of the Ball Dog Classic, 34-34, 3 minutes left in the first half between Long Beach State and San Jose State.
Wow, the beach. They want to get a win. Interesting stuff.
So I just wanted to look it up, and wow.
That's a good one.
Great.
That is a good one. That's very interesting there, Sal. Good stuff. Guys, I'll say this. As far as the hot hand of tonight's game, you go for it, George. Where are we going here? Hot hand of the game. This is brought to you by Wind Supply El Paso. I think player of the game is pretty easy, but where would you say we're going for hot hand?
Hot hand for me is David Terrell Jr. Yeah, he did. Once again, he didn't stuff the stat sheet offensively, but there was about 5 or 6 defensive stretches there where David Terrell was just all over the floor. I mean, just dominating, ripping the ball away from UNC Greensboro players. I mean, commanding the offense, taking charge. I find it hard to find another example where somebody just leads the way that he does, and he did that for a good long stretch when UTEP needed him. So for me, it's David Terrell Jr. today.
Okay, good stuff. David Terrell Jr., our Wind Supply El Paso Hot Hand Award winner here on the program. Stay on schedule with Wind Supply of El Paso. Home builders make them their trusted HVAC system suppliers. Check them out online, windsupplyelpaso.com. Hit the Find a Dealer tab. Check out Champion Dealers, and that's where you can see how you could upgrade your new furnace with some great certified Champion Elite dealers up on their website. That's windsupplyelpaso.com. Turning the page over to the player of the game, it's no question. It's Corey Camper Jr. 19 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, no turnovers, 36 minutes of action. Corey Camper Jr. winning the player of the game. And this is brought to you by the Oscar Arrieta Allstate Agency. Hey, if you're going on a trip this this holiday break, make sure that you're insured. Make sure that you're on the road and better protected. And make sure you trust the experts at the Oscar Arrieta Agency. They can help you bundle your home and auto insurance with ease. That's the Oscar Arrieta Agency, serving El Paso for over 27 years. Experience you can trust. Check them out online, OscarArrietaAgency.com. 10 years, Sal Montes. 10 years. I can't believe it, man. What a run. You're the top board op producer here in this building, but you've mentored everybody. Like, that's the crazy part about
it's
you.
It's wild,
Sal.
man.
You've trained almost everybody in the building. I was trying to do the list today, and start to read, and I honestly got it twisted. I got it lost. So it's great, and it's a testament to you. What are some of the highlights out of 10 years?
Oh man, for sure, MinerTalk. Right, we've been running this for I don't even know how long, Adrian. There's been so many late nights, some early games. I mean, just so many fun memories. But I think in reality, man, it's the people that you get to meet along the way, and meeting so many interns, turn employees or interns, who start here and then they go off to, some Austin, Texas. Shout out to Tawny Davis. That's one of the names as well. Amazing at what she does. Leah, Faith. I'm gonna name all these names and I'm gonna forget some people, but Faith, Michelle, who's out at KVIA. Shout out to Michelle. Amazing. AB, I remember when you first came in, and we were just getting this programming too, so we learned it at the same time and learning all those fun things. Alberto, George, everybody here. So it's been amazing, man. I mean, I'm running out of names, but my very first intern, I do want to shout him out, and he's out there in the DFW area. This is my guy, Bubba Lutz. I love you, little bro. You're so amazing, and I'm so proud of you for all you do, and congratulations on the engagement. So, man, there's so many things, so many people that we've met, but the highlight of it all, Lions getting on this winning streak and getting to talk about it with people. That's what I love. Let's go.
I love it. I love it. I've written other ones. Michael Cuviello, he's in that conversation. Yes. You have to throw Brandon Cohn in that conversation too, because you taught a lot to Brandon the Iceman Cohn. Danny Pedroza, he was here earlier. Daniel Paulus, Alicia Barron, Michael Plundo, Sebastian Perez Navarro, and Angel Munoz.
Angel, oh my gosh, Angel is a wizard, man. He's so great. I mean, if you guys ever get a chance to hear some of the stuff he's produced or see some of the stuff he's produced, you're gonna lose your mind. He's incredible. So that's he's one of one, man.
Well, it's talent. Coaching up talent, Sal. It's all you. It's a reflection of you. Like everybody's success. These people that we reeled off, like they've got real jobs like us, and they're doing their thing in this world. But they came to us initially just trying to learn. And like I said, it's a reflection of you, man. 10 years at 600 ESPN El Paso. You celebrated it this past week. Where were you 10 years ago when you were doing this?
I was transferring from EPCC to UTEP, and my intro here. My friend used to work here as well. He's a professor now at UTEP, but they call him Froggy. You guys may know him. He has a really deep voice and a bunch of tattoos. So that's my guy right there. But Steve Kaplowitz was actually my professor at EPCC for one of the audio production classes. I can't lie, I already knew how to use the program, so it was really easy to get a good grade. But nonetheless, though, do well in the class. And there's an opening, and Chad Middleton was here at the time, and he said, "Hey, there's something here," or I can't remember how it happened, but I asked about it, and it was basically like three arrows pointing in the same direction, and all of those panned out. So shout out to Steve, shout out to my boy Froggy, and Chad Middleton as well. You guys helped make it possible. Yeah.
Man, it's crazy. And now 10 years later, you've got a wife, you've got a kid, you've got a great family.
Oh,
we got MinerTalk.
Yeah, shout out to my amazing, beautiful wife, Salma. I love you so much. My baby boy, Samir. Ya Habibi Albi. You are my everything, little boy. Tomorrow I'm gonna make breakfast. We're gonna watch the Lions finally end the Thanksgiving curse and make some mac and cheese. So that's where I'm at right now. Shout out to my family as well. My dog Russell Flexbrook.
Been through it all.
Best of the best. You know what I mean? He's lost his teeth, but he doesn't lose his heart. So.
Love it.
That's my guy.
Well, Sal, you're my guy. I appreciate you for all you do, and man, it's been a great ride. I feel like I've been here this whole time. One of the big reasons because of you, Sal. I love how you work. You inspire me. You motivate me, and it's fun to do MinerTalk with you, man. It's like I truly believe this. Like we've had some really really fun shows, and thanks for 10 years, man.
Dude, thank you for being amazing, and shout out to you as well. I mean, you've had some amazing accomplishments throughout your tenure, going from an intern to an ABC guy over there on the other side. I see you, man. A lot of these big names and guests that we get are because of you. A lot of the big clients that we get are because of you. And getting to see you, man, going from a guy, at UTEP, having a roommate and living the college life, working, school, work, getting engaged, ultimately getting married. So we've seen your progression as well, man. Shout out to you. You're an amazing person. One of one.
Appreciate you, Sal. It's a good celebration show here on the program. We're feeling thankful ahead of Thanksgiving. So that's how we're feeling to close out the show here tonight. Guys, a couple tweets to get to. We'll just all react together. Any thoughts here from this one? Duke Keith, our pal, may have been listening to MinerTalk, ? The questions were answered tonight, talking about David Terrell Jr. Manny David, 2 of 3 in the Ball Dogs Classic. Could have been 3 of 3, but still good job for the Miners. Just got to finish strong. Still happy they head back home with 2-game win streak. Keep going, Miners. Tristan Pence, solid defensive game and win tonight for UTEP. I think the Miners will benefit in the long run for playing in this tournament. The Miners will get 10 days to iron out some stuff and prepare for a deceivingly good Seattle team. Happy and safe Thanksgiving, guys. Happy and safe Thanksgiving to you, Tristan. Appreciate you. Appreciate your family as well. Also, this is coming from Daniel. The 3-point percentage is 26th in the nation according to NCAA stats. Daniel, I know, man. I know. I can't believe that this team is shooting lights out from beyond the arc. So good stuff there. Good job by pointing out the three-point numbers. Tonight here for the Miners, they end up shooting here in this matchup 38% from beyond the arc, 8 of 21. So they're hitting threes. That's the reality for the squad, which is something you can't say or you couldn't say in the past 4 years of Joe Golding. Sad UTEP fan. A win is a win, but let's be real here. If this team was any good, we would have been killed tonight. I'm happy for the win, but I still don't feel great about the future for this team. I'll say this, as far as the quality of UNC Greensboro out of the Southern Conference, which it is the Southern Conference, they were picked to finish second. So let's see what happens when it's all said and done. If they end up making the NCAA tournament, this will, we'll look back on this one as a solid win for UTEP. King Eric. Maybe we're overlooking San Jose State. Anyway, these two wins impress me, especially after they played versus San Jose. I'm expecting a win against Seattle and Louisville. Please don't let me down. Expecting a win against Louisville.
Whoa. That's I love it.
Said,
I love the enthusiasm. Louisville.
Man, expecting to win.
Oh, man. I mean, hey, do what you got to do, man. All right. I respect it. It's consistent.
He's consistent. Good stuff, Eric. I appreciate you, man. Hey, well, we're thankful for all our listeners here on MinerTalk. We'll be back in action on Saturday. It's UTEP taking on New Mexico State in football. We'll have all the coverage for you after that one here on MinerTalk. And then next week, we got it for you as well. UTEP taking on Seattle. So we're going to sign off here tonight. A good edition of MinerTalk. And we're going to say thank you to all the people who listen to us. We are very thankful of you all here on MinerTalk. We appreciate all that you do as far as supporting our show and listening to us, and appreciate people who have been with us here for the whole ride. For Sal Montes, for George Guajardo, for Alberto Reta, for Inspo Lens, I'm Adrian Broadus, and we're signing off saying so long, and thanks for listening to MinerTalk, brought to you by Jack in the Box, right here on 600 ESPN El Paso.